Thank you for joining us this evening. So my name is Jennifer Riley. I work at the New England College of Optometry, and I am the subcommittee chair for the applications and recruitment for the Flom Leadership Academy. And so we have the rest of the subcommittee here will be answering some questions. And so we've had a lot of frequently asked questions about the program, and so we wanted to take an opportunity to address those today. So we have a couple that have already been sent in or that we've received in the past, but then at the end we'll also open the floor to questions that you might have. Um, all right. So at this time, we'll introduce the group.
Hi all, I'm Rebecca Deffler. I work at the Ohio State University College of Optometry. I'm a member of the subcommittee and I completed the Flom Leadership Academy graduating in 2023.
So hi, my name is Samantha Kruger. I committed the Flom Leadership training in 2024, so pretty recently, and I work currently at Nova Southeastern University.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Kwan. I currently practice at the University of Chicago. I serve as the vice chair for the leadership committee, but I was part of the marketing just last year. And I did the Flom leadership courses when they were called Leadership Insight courses. So this is pre-COVID. And then now this iteration that's packaged for applicants, which is much better, I would say, as this year-long project is something that we're very proud of.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gayatri Srinivasan. I am a pediatric optometrist based in Stanford University, and I completed a leadership program in 2023, and I'm a subcommittee member. All right, so as Jen mentioned, we had a bunch of questions that people were dying to know the answers to, most asked questions. So we're going to start with that and answer them for you. And then in the end, we'll open it up to the floor and have the audience ask any additional questions they may have. So the first question is, what would be your advice for strengthening an application for someone who just received their fellowship status within the past year or so?
Thank you, Gayatri. So I would say my biggest recommendation for someone who is new in their career, just received their fellowship with the Academy in the past couple of years, would be to really emphasize any leadership experience that you've had, even within optometry school or undergrad residency. Emphasize that there are opportunities within the application to mention those things. So certainly that's what I would spend my time highlighting.
I will also add to that it can be very important to describe your future goals and aspirations for leadership so that we can, the committee that's working on acceptance gets an idea of what you're hoping to do with the training that you receive in this program.
What about if they don't have any concrete leadership opportunities during optometry school? What would be the recommendation for those candidates? Do they have to have it, or can they use this as a platform to explain what their goals are for the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that, while it certainly helps an application if someone can really outline prior leadership experience, it's not necessarily required. This program welcomes those who are in all phases of their careers. I mean, we've had participants who have been presidents of the World Council of Optometry and CEO of different companies participating within this program. So, but we've also had people who just, finished their fellowship 6 months prior. So for those who are in the shoes of having just finished it 6 months prior, I would certainly talk about what you plan to do. Maybe provide some concrete examples of what you've been thinking about doing and what your goals are for completing this program.
Perfect. Thanks, Jen. All right. If there are no further inputs from the committee members, I would like to get to the next question, which is, are there any continued benefits or resources through the Flom Leadership Academy after program completion?
So I'll start this one off. There's been a lot of good opportunity for me through the leadership community to access more resources, go back to material we provided, dig deeper, talk with people I met through the Leadership Academy, and then also access resources provided by the Leadership Academy, things like podcasts and other material that's available online. So, a lot of self paced content, which has been really valuable for me as I'm looking for advice or ideas in particular areas of leadership.
Yeah, I would say that one of the other added benefits or kind of resources after completion is, information is collected as soon as you complete the program on what you're interested in participating in within the academy in the future. And I think that's really nice because if you want to participate more in the academy, but you're not sure where to get involved or how to get involved, opportunities will actually be brought to you, which I think is really nice. They'll specifically ask, where your interests lie and look for opportunities to kind of target you and see where you might want to participate, whether it's at annual meetings or in kind of committees where you can meet throughout the year and help.
I will also add there's some opportunities for networking. Even the first year that you're accepted into the program, you're invited to that year's graduation ceremony. So you get to network with that year's outgoing class. And you also get to watch, like a speaker. Last year was Dr. Ed Bennett. So you get to watch him speak and get some continuing education, which is really a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The next question, oh, this is an interesting one. What is your number one reason for completing the leadership course?
Yeah, I know for me, mine was actually I was looking for a way to get more involved with the academy. And so when the call came out back in 2021 for the program, I looked into it to get involved that way. So I myself completed the program back in 2022. And I've had a lot of opportunities since then to participate. So it certainly paid off.
For me, I was really looking for external mentorship in leadership development. I have a lot of technical mentors where I work. I was working on my PhD and I had all kinds of good mentorship and good access to folks on all of those technical skills. But I was looking more for external mentorship and external guidance related to developing myself as a leader and learning more about my own skills. And I'm really pleased with what I learned through the program. And it was great to get to meet new people and the folks on this call, but also just other people in mentorship have been really helpful as I kind of grow in my professional career.
I can chime in for this one. I think so. I never really had any leadership training as part of my formal education, whether it's an undergraduate program or graduate program. And so, there is a lot more conversation about formal leadership training, and a lot more is known in the leadership space than we are familiar with within our profession. And so the course really, I think, gave me an opportunity to enter into this leadership curriculum and understand more about myself and tap into my strengths, my weaknesses, and leverage these skills to be a better leader, whether it be, leading a day in clinic or leading a small subcommittee at an academy or whatever it may be. I think it's a wonderful way to enter into this space and learn more about yourself. And that was the main reason why I applied, and it's been a great experience overall.
It looks like, John, you have your hand raised. Please chime in because we definitely want to make this a discussion.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm John Butch. I actually became a diplomate last year at the Academy. And, the Flom Leadership Academy, I got an email about it. We're all kind of talking about what it can do and why you participated. I need to start a little bit higher. I've never heard of it before. So can somebody tell me what this program is? Um, can we start there?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, John. Yeah, I appreciate you pumping the brakes on me. Yeah. So the Flom Leadership Academy is a year-long training program through the American Academy of Optometry. And so every year, the program kicks off with a new cohort at the live annual meeting. So this year, a new cohort will start in Boston, and then you have a live kickoff kind of meeting. You do a module there in person where you get to meet the other members of your cohort, and you're actually even broken down into kind of small subgroups that you'll work with throughout the year. And then once everyone kind of goes back home from the annual meeting, throughout the year, there's 10 virtual but synchronous modules that you participate in. They have some pre-work that you would have to complete, and each module has its own theme, like it's principles of leadership, communication, running effective meetings. There's a writing module to help with that. So that each one kind of has its own topic led by kind of experts in the field. And so then they're about once a month, typically on a Thursday evening, and they offer 2 sessions, an earlier one for those who might be on the East Coast, and then a later one for those who might be on the West Coast. And so to actually get credit and graduate and participate in the program, you have to complete 8 of the 10 modules. And then it all comes together at the end of that year at the next annual Academy meeting, again in person, at what a capstone celebration or a capstone ceremony. It's treated as the graduation from the program. And so if this year, if it starts in Boston, I believe it would end the following year. I think it's in Anaheim would be for 2026. And so that's kind of the general gist of the program.
And what is your rough estimate on your time commitment to the program?
Excellent question. Yeah, that's one of the frequently asked ones that we certainly get a lot. I would say that the expectation is about, for the pre-work for any given module, it probably is somewhere between 1.5 to 2.5 hours time commitment all in, between reading, watching videos, completing any sort of like additional assignment that there might be. The module itself that's live is an hour and a half. And then there's always about an hour of post-work assignment. So I would say for any given module, all in, what is that? 2, 3.5, 4. It's about 4 to 5 hours for each module, and then there's 10 throughout the year. So you're probably looking at a minimum of a 50-hour commitment, but over 1 year time. And of course, that wouldn't include attending and participating the in-person Academy meetings as well. So it's certainly not passive. It's definitely not just show up and attend that, synchronous module once a month. There definitely is a little work behind it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, excellent question.
Yeah, if there are any other questions, I think maybe we started off the conversation just to, be in the best interest of everybody's time. We started off the conversation at high level sort of question answer session, but if there are any other questions that you want to know about the program, as Jen said, please feel free to put it in the chat. We're happy to answer them as they come.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay, so I did we all get a chance to chime in on the previous question, which was our reason for completing the course?
I did.
I'll go.
Oh,
Oh,
Sure.
you can go.
Sam. Okay. Okay. Then yeah, I would say that, I initially kind of jumping in, thinking about networking and getting involved with Academy. And I think being on the other side of it now, the benefit is sort of continual in the sense of, I didn't really have a structure as to what leadership was. I knew leadership skills were something you hone and you work on your whole life. And I knew that this isn't something necessarily that they teach in school, kind of like, I don't know, billing and coding or other things that are practical. So I knew that that was something I wanted to build upon. And, with life, it's hard to have sort of a schedule that kind of makes you commit and subscribe to something. So it really is a draw or appeal for me to have a program like this where it kind of keeps you accountable, connects you with people with similar goals. And then even after the program's done, wherever you are in your journey, again, some are diplomates, some are really, really, really at the, let's say, late career, some are early career. And I think that beautiful intersection of like, wherever you are, you're still growing and there's things you can learn and teach your, fellow colleagues. So I think that's one of the things that, why I was initially drawn to it. And now that I've seen it completed sort of this, you kind of reap those benefits continuously.
Perfect. Sam?
And yes, I was gonna add that I was very early in my career. I had just received my fellowship and I was looking for just general guidance, the ability to network, and this program is really a great opportunity to learn more from, your cohort, all the people you'll get to meet and all the mentors that lead these different modules throughout the year that you get to interact with is really invaluable for a newer grad like myself, newer practitioner, or really, I think anyone can benefit.
Yeah, and I think for all of us, just the networking opportunities that we have gotten, and also the continual benefits that, as Stephen mentioned, we are able to, sort of reap out of this program by contributing back to the program is amazing. And so, lots of good things. All right. Let's see. The next question that we received is, how does the Leadership Academy differ from other leadership programs that you may have participated in or might participate in?
So I can start off with this one. One of the things I really appreciated most about the Leadership Academy is that it starts with a strengths assessment, so Clifton strengths particularly, and then the whole program, you're thinking about how your strengths can be utilized to be a better leader. And it made a big difference in not only how I think about my own leadership style and the things that I do, but also how I interact with people who have different strengths that I met in the program that maybe I'm less familiar with or less, I don't want to say less comfortable with, but ones that I don't identify as being a strength of mine. And so I really liked that approach. I liked thinking about the skills I had, my inherent kind of nature, and then how to best use that to my benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, I can add, I mean, this is my first leadership course, a formal curriculum. But what I really liked about that is it was a very active learning environment. As Jen mentioned, there are, structured course or topics that you would cover throughout the program. And these topics actually continue to evolve every year based on the needs of the program and the feedback that we receive from prior participants. Like, for example, I think in 2023, we didn't have the writing component workshop, but then it got added in to the next year based on, just looking at the needs of the program and how it can be made better. So this is a very active, formal sort of process that is being looked at by people in the leadership that really care about the program. But for me, what really sort of attracted me to it was it had structured assignments that I had to sit down and prepare for, and then in the active sort of synchronous videos, it's not just somebody sitting there and talking to us about the topics, right? Our pre-assigned readings were actually put to use through breakout sessions and conversations and just sort of sharing of ideas and different viewpoints of how we would address challenging situations and scenarios and things like that. And it was a nice takeaway, to come from those small breakout sessions to then be summarized into a larger conversation with a bigger group. And so you really sort of start to get into this process of, okay, this is how it's going to be. I need to come in prepared. I can't just like read through things at the very last minute. It's, how much ever you make use of it, you will reap that much benefit out of it. Maybe other programs are similar to this, but that's what was really unique, in my opinion. Any other thoughts, comments, any questions? Okay. All right. So the next question that we have is, how does the program facilitate networking opportunities and collaborations with established leaders in optometry?
Yeah, so I think I'll start talking about that one. So you start and end the program in person at the academy meeting. And so I think that's a great opportunity where they immediately put you in small groups and you get to meet your cohort. And there's a lot of different activities that you do where it's really kind of hands-on and you get to work with each other and get to know the other people you're going to be working with all year. I also think it's really nice that each of the module has typically somewhere between 3 to 5 faculty assigned to it that lead it, and all of them are involved in the optometric profession in one way or the other. And all of the faculty members have either gone through the program or have a very established leadership track record. And so, they reach out and you work with them directly as well. Also, for the writing module, you're assigned a writing mentor that you work with. And so, between all of those kind of opportunities that are, scattered throughout the year, there's more than enough opportunities to certainly get to work with other people and meet new faces.
I can chime in too. I think part of it also comes down to how eager you are in sort of putting yourself out there and creating a network for yourself. And not everyone is always comfortable with just getting into a large room with a bunch of people and start networking. But part of the leadership training is to hone your communication skills and be comfortable about how you present yourself and how you sort of convey your thought process to others. And so, in some ways, it's in your hands to sort of make the best use of the community that's part of the Flom Leadership Academy and to maximize it.
And I'll add too that in terms of networking opportunities and collaborations, this is, we understand that this academy itself and things like this are volunteer opportunities, right? We're not paying anyone. People are doing this because they're passionate about it and they want to either give back or get something out of this. But to the point of, as Gayatri was saying, this program is evolving. It's really beautiful how big it's been in just a couple of years. And so part of our structure is that, we don't want the same people lecturing and facilitating all the time. We want to tap into the talent that comes in every year. And so you really get this sort of mixed roster every year, and it just really, really evolves in different ways. And so if you're also interested in like, hey, I want to be more involved in podcasts with the Academy, or I want to be more involved with speaking engagements, or I'm looking for collaborators in a certain type of research I'm doing, this is not only a great way to do that and start, boots on the ground with rubbing shoulders with people in your writing group, and we should mention that every module you do have the same kind of small group that you work with in writing an assignment or working on something you're doing already throughout the year. That's one of the assignments. But every module is mixed. So you're randomized throughout the cohort. You're not only with, let's say, 5 people, you were mixed throughout the year. But then again, we're really looking for people who are eager to contribute and teach in the modules as well. And so we're always looking and surveying our participants like, hey, are you, highly motivated to talk about mentorship or conflict resolution or public speaking or research writing, grant writing? We could use you. And so we're always sort of tapping the people that are doing this. And I think that's really the cool organic sort of mix concoction that occurs from this, is that it's a living sort of community that's growing with newsletters and interactions that aren't just part of the synchronous modules.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. All right. So the next question is a very practical one. I think we addressed this before. I'm busy and I want to make sure I can commit fully to learning from the Leadership Academy. What is the workload or demand like? And I think we talked about this. So John, you sort of got ahead of us with this sort of top line question. That's great. So, I mean, in addition to what we already discussed before, are there any other questions in this subtopic that people want to talk about in terms of workloads and demands? If not, we can move on to the next question. Looks like we're good on that one. Okay. All right. Who's the ideal candidate for this program? Everyone in this call is an ideal candidate for this program.
Absolutely. And I would say, I mean, it might be intuitive to you all, but someone that really does want to learn more about their leadership abilities. I think if you have a genuine interest in self-development, leadership skills, this will be a great fit for you.
That's a beautiful answer, Sam. I would say that I think also if you're looking to develop skills and inherent abilities that you think you have and you just want to develop them further, hone them further, really tap into what you're capable of, that's really one of the things I valued the most about this program. Is I felt that all of the mentors and the educators involved were really championing us to be the best version of ourselves as leaders. And so I think if you're interested in trying to do a little self-improvement, this is a nice way to do it.
Awesome. All right. Well, those were the top line questions that that we wanted to cover. The floor is now open for the participants to ask any questions they may have.
There was this is John. Um, when Jen was talking earlier, she had mentioned that it starts at one academy and ends at the following year's academy. And to graduate, you have to finish 8 out of 10 modules. What is graduate? I mean, what does that mean? Like,
Yeah, to complete the program and have kind of the recognition and the ability to say that you have finished and completed the program.
okay,
And so to kind of get formal recognition and credit for it, you do get a nice certificate and acknowledgement and kind of added to that list of alumni of the program. And so there is a ceremony. You get to walk across the stage and kind of there's a speaker there. You get CE credit for the event. It's really a nice one.
okay, thank you.
I think so. This is something you can add to your CV as well as part of like you can add this as additional training or additional. There is a way to add this to your CV as a formal training program that you have completed. So there's that added bonus as well.
Yeah, and I would also add that, the people that go through this are often tapped into other things, not just leadership, but in the academy itself. So other committees, membership, scientific, or like lectures and workshops. Like the president usually is getting the list of graduates every year from us. So that's also something that we're always sharing.
There's a question on the chat. Can you talk a little bit more about the writing component of the program?
Yeah, so the writing component, it's originally was its own module and it still is. But the current program, what we do is uh, those small groups that you are part of in the very beginning, that we kind of pre-assign you to, becomes a writing circle for you. And then you're paired with a mentor that has, a lot of experience in, let's say, scientific writing. Um, and so we pair you with a well-known kind of person in the field, and then you have, let's say, 4 to 5 colleagues in this writing circle. And so this group, there's sort of an assignment that's accumulates into like a publishable work towards the end of the program. Let's say, around July is when you would want to kind of get it done. And it could be anything you want. So it could be something you're already working on. It doesn't have to be a poster or a case report. It could be a scientific article. It could be something for a trade journal or something for your website or something else that is promotional for your, whatever that you do. But many people do it and model it after case reports and then do submit it to various journals. So throughout the year, you have your kind of small writing circle, and then you get notes and essentially and feedback from your colleagues as well as the mentor that's paired with you.
Just wanted to add, like, that might sound really intimidating that you have to like write a whole paper or, like Stephen was saying, it can be anything that you're working on already. But your mentor that they assign you to is really a valuable resource for this activity. And again, like we were saying earlier, this whole program in general gets you a lot of new mentors that you can work with. And I found my writing mentor to be someone that was really beneficial to work with and really helpful throughout the process. So don't let the writing module scare you away.
Yeah, I can see how beneficial this particular module would be if you if you don't have any strong writing experience or research experience, having a mentored process where you can work on a product and see it to completion is really, really valuable. I'm kind of jealous that I didn't I didn't go through this myself.
I know I
But
want to go
that's
back
what's
and do
amazing.
that one.
Right? Yeah. I mean, even if you have written before, there are always great tips that people share, especially experienced writers that you could adopt for yourself. So that's great. Um, any other follow-up questions on this before we move on to Olga's? Okay, so Olga's is a logistical one. How big is the cohort and how many graduates do we have to date? Let's boast about this a bit.
So right now, so it's growing. It started out maybe around 35, but now the current class is about 50 people. And so to date, I mean, you're looking at probably under around 200, something like that.
Yeah, and that's in the program in its current kind of reiteration as the Flom Leadership Academy. And there's certainly many more if you were to conclude the leadership insight.
We really thank you for your time, for joining us this evening.
And Jen, when are the applications due again?
Yeah, so applications for this cohort that would start in Boston this fall are due on July 1st. So the application window is open now. It's open for about another 3.5, 4 weeks. They close on July 1st, and then applicants would be notified in early August to be able to plan for the upcoming meeting. Yeah. Well, thank you all so much. You probably have seen a lot of communications about the program, so I know it has some of our contact information. I'll put my email in the chat now in case anyone wants to reach out with any questions. And we'll stay on for a minute. I'll stop the recording now. Thank you for joining. And if you do want to stay and ask any questions, we're more than happy to help answer them. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.